Hi, I'm Paul Gross. I'm an extension educator for Michigan State University in Isabel County, working in cover crops and soil health. And I'm with Dr. Dean Baas, an extension educator from Sustainable Ag, who works with cover crops, soil health. And today is June 5th, and it's the last day for Prevent Plant for corn here in Michigan. And a lot of those acres are going to have something done with it, Dean. So what are some of the options that farmers might have for these prevent plant acres in terms of cover crops?
Well, thanks, Paul. When we're looking at prevented planting acres, first thing right up front, I want to caution farmers to definitely consult the risk management agency's guidelines for prevented planting, as well as talk to your Farm Service Agency, FSA, and crop insurance agent when you're considering options for prevented planting, including cover crops. We recommend on prevented planted acres that farmers consider putting cover crops on. That will help you prevent further soil degradation and hopefully improve the soil resiliency in coming years. And so we think there's a benefit to putting cover crops on. This gives you a longer growing season for cover crops than we typically have, particularly in corn and soybean systems. You've got the whole year, so you should be able to get even greater benefits than you would typically get from cover crops. Some of those benefits, definitely you want to protect your soil from wind and water erosion that can occur if you leave it bare. There's an opportunity to improve the soil structure, soil permeability. That can help in the future for increasing the water holding capacity and dealing with some of the extreme events that we've been seeing. Improves the soil structure. And then from an environmental standpoint, we also want to prevent nutrient losses. If you've got excess nutrients in there, get some cover crops on there to take those up and hold those. It's also an opportunity if you want to provide some nutrients. You can look at using some legumes to be a source for nitrogen for the following year. So those are some benefits, but all of those things will really help with the resiliency of your system to help deal with these types of issues in the future.
Well, that's a good reason to plant them. What should farmers consider? What should they plant? What species might you suggest generally in Michigan here?
Well, when you're looking at selecting cover crops, you basically kind of have three options. You have the grasses, grasses like oats, annual ryegrass, winter cereals, as well as the summer grasses. Let's start. I like to say, nothing else, put some oats out there. Oats is usually one of your most cost-effective cover crops. You can put it out there almost any time of the year, and it's really a go-to cover crop in a lot of situations. Get some cover, get some control against weeds. If you're really looking at weed control, summer grasses like sorghum sudan grass are really good at choking out the weeds. That's something you can consider, although we're currently hearing that that seed may be in short supply, so that may be a little harder to come by this year. Winter cereals and annual ryegrass, those are some options, but realize that when you plant those early, they may not perform as they would being planted later in the season. You probably wouldn't want to plant those until late summer at the earliest, and those species are going to require termination in the spring, so keep that in mind. You can look at some options like red clover, berseem clover. You can plant those early summer. That gives you some nitrogen production. As far as late summer legumes, you can consider crimson clover, sweet clover, hairy vetch, winter peas. All of those can provide some nitrogen for you in the future. A lot of people know about brassicas, radishes, rapeseed, mustards, those types of species, and we caution people, particularly on the radish, that if you plant those before August, that they have a tendency to bolt and go to seed. And when that plant goes through those stages, it doesn't provide you that bigger taproot that you're looking for, as typically is the reason for growing a radish, so that you can reduce some compaction and some of those types of things. A lot of resources out there to help you select cover crops. There's the Midwest Cover Crop Council decision tool. It's on their website at mccc.msu.edu. You can go there and find a lot of information about cover crops that can help you. You can go to the MSU cover crop website, which is covercrops.msu.edu. We have posted a fact sheet on cover crops for prevented planting on that website. That can give you some further direction. Do your homework when you're selecting the cover crops. Look at what you're trying to do in that field and how cover crops might be able to help you this year.
Boy, that's good, Dean. I think you hit the key right at the end there. What do you want to accomplish? One other question: what would any suggestions or thoughts about species that might work well for forage if you want to wait till after that November 1st date? Got some livestock that you might want to utilize that cover crop as a forage. Any thoughts on that?
Well, you can definitely look at the clovers as an option for forage. The sorghum Sudan grass, some summer grasses. It kind of opens up a different set of species that can be used that we don't even typically consider for cover crops. Some people looking at things like teff as an option. Would really recommend that you consult some publications on emergency forages and on forages in general to make that type of a decision. But the caution there is that if you plant before the late planting date, you cannot harvest that forage until November 1st and get a full crop insurance payment. If you plant the cover crop after the late planting date and harvest it prior to November 1, your payment will be reduced to 35%. So if you are looking for cover crops for forages and you have crop insurance, be sure and check the guidelines and talk to your insurance agent about what you're planning to do, so that you don't get yourself in a situation where you lose your crop insurance payment.
Very good, Dean. Good information. A lot of resources out there for farmers to use. I think your key points are: make sure you check with your crop insurance agent to make sure you're following all the rules so you maintain eligibility for any payments. Make sure you maybe use some of the tools that are out there. The Midwest Cover Crop Council Selector Tool, Michigan State Cover Crop Team website, all opportunities to get more information about cover crops. So thanks for being with me today, Dean.
Thank you, Paul.